As you can see from the title, I titled it Back to Basics. What is even Power BI about? So that's something that a lot of people still have issues with trying to reconcile. Can you see my screen? Can anybody confirm if they can see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Okay, that means an issue at my own end then. Okay, good. So if you can see it, then that's all that matters. I have two screens, so I found out I disappeared on one of it, so I've been wondering what the issue is. So we're doing back to basics. For a lot of you, it's going to be what you mostly know, but then again, I found out that there are still people who this is something they should be reminded of, or there will be some people maybe this is something that they will be thankful to again be aware of. So now, this slide I want to take us through is the slide I normally use when I am taking companies through the whole concept of Power BI. So maybe management guys, I need to let them even be aware of what it is about so that they will know the kind of demands they're going to place on their team, and then they will also be aware of how to use it so that they don't go forcing their teams to use Power BI as if it's Excel. And they themselves will not be asking you, send me the Power BI file. Some funny things that when you hear, you will know this person doesn't really understand how Power BI is meant to work. And more importantly, helps them to see fully how Power BI is meant to be used. Okay, so let's get started. So I call it Power BI value proposition. What is it that Power BI is meant to add as value for every organization, and how is it supposed to be different from the Microsoft Excel and many other tools we use? I find it that people confuse it with Excel most. When I say confuse it, not confuse it in terms of name, but confuse it in terms of use. I've seen people use it as if they are trying to use Excel. If you see someone's Power BI report and it's having like 30 pages, instantly what comes to my mind is this person is still using it with the mindset of Excel. When you see people use Power BI and they don't even bother to touch that Power BI service side, they don't go there, they don't try to take advantage of scheduled refresh, of enrolling some people onto subscribing some people's email in subscription so that they can be able to get daily snapshot of the report. They don't even go to creating dashboards. Then you find out that maybe it's because they are not fully aware of all of these things. Okay, so this is first of all how I break it out. Yes, Power BI is built with more interactive insights in mind. So naturally, the kind of interactivity you get by default in Power BI are the types that it cannot be easy to achieve in Excel. You will have to do pivot table, do slicer, do some kind of hard work for you to get the same level of interactivity that you just get out of the box with Power BI. So it allows you to do more interactive reports. Then it has drill down baked in. You can always drill down. That's something that, it's very, very difficult to get in Excel. That sometimes the difficulty is not worth it, right? So it has drill down baked in. Originally, Power BI started out of Excel. Some people do not know. When I started teaching Power BI, the only resource then was one Microsoft book. Let me see if I can show you the book, because I think there was someone that was even arguing with me online, when I had done a video then that showed what Power BI was like in the tools in Excel. That time it used to be Power Query, Power View, Power Map, and Power Pivot that together forms Power BI. And the person was like, I'm lying, that's not true. There's no Power BI in Excel. So let me see if I can find the book so you'll see for yourself. And then the practice materials that Microsoft gave us, many of them were Excel files that when you open it, that's why you will notice this screenshot is one of the screenshots I took from that Excel file. I hope you can still see my screen. I hope all is as it should be. Let me just check.
Yes, your screen is very visible.
Okay, all right. I'll just ignore what's happening at my own end. So let me just quickly try and show. I was saying that you see this that you're seeing here, right? It is one of the screenshots from the file. I think I took this screenshot myself. So this is not an image I copied from somewhere online. You know, so it actually started in Excel. That's one thing that many people are not aware of. Let me see if I can get us some of what it looks like. So at some point, Excel stopped supporting some of the things. So you find out that even when you have the file, if you try to open them, they will not open. They will say they are not supported in Excel anymore. But I still have that. This is that book. Let's check. Yeah, this is the book. And let me just make it full screen so I can even show you if you are one of those two, you know, you'll be able to see truly that Excel started in Power BI started in Excel. Okay, is it this book? Let me just keep going. I don't think this is it. This is not it. This is not it. I think I have changed the material completely. This is not the book. This is not it. Let me see if I adventure still have it in here. Unfortunately, it seems I've stopped adding that book to the resource I give out. So before it used to be part of the resource that I give out. In fact, that time this Marco Russo, I think this is the one by Marco Russo, right? Let's just quickly check. Yeah. So that time there was this one was there wasn't this one. So anyway, no, it's not. It's not even 2016 book. It was a 2000 and earlier than this. Okay, not too bad. It would have been nice if I could show you. Let me see if I have the Excel files also in here. Let's just see. Okay, this is one of the Excel files. Let's keep our fingers crossed and see if we open. That time there was no Excel 2016. So it was Excel 2013. Okay. Let's see if it will open. You can see it's already showing something, showing Power View, right? Let's say it will enable. Let's see, maybe you'll be able to see some of the. I'm just trying to show you because I think some people find it unbelievable. Like they see it as no. I've always known Power BI. It was never in Excel. Let's see if this shows. It used to be buggy, you know. I think that was part of why they had to discontinue it in Excel and just take it out completely as a separate tool. But it would be nice if you can see what it looks like. And just to tell you, this sample I'm downloading, you know where we used to get the sample from? You'll be surprised. Let me tell you where we used to get the sample from. We used to get the sample from right in Power BI. When you log into Power BI, there used to be a section where they call samples. And then when you click and download the samples, it's those Excel files that you're going to get. So there was one for customer profitability. There was one for operations and supply chain. There was one for HR. Then there was one for, there were four of them. You know, this is all memories coming back. Let me see if that one has come up. Unfortunately, I know with every update of 2016 and Office 365, they kept deprecating those features such that it becomes impossible, which is what I'm experiencing now. That for me to see what it used to be now, to open it, I can't open. For security reasons, as Excel Office has blocked something. All right, so I give up. But at least I think my point is made. So I'm going to just go ahead with my presentation. I just wanted to let you know that this is the Power BI, what it used to be. What you're seeing on the left is what it used to be before, I think 2015, towards the end of 2015, when the standalone Power BI app came out, and then gradually everything started migrating to that one. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the next slide. So the point I'm trying to bring out here is the fact that Power BI from the should I say from the design approach. Let me go look for those my keys. Let me see whose mic is giving us the background noise. All right, so I move on to the next slide. By the way, I've pasted the slide in the chat box. So let me just quickly copy it and paste it again, because I found out that our teams might not show you the conversations that have happened before you join the meeting. So sometimes one has to repost. So I've repasted it in case you want to follow along. And again, also, now the mindset I try to let people understand is that Power BI is meant to solve a key problem that was existing in the era of Excel and tools that were like Excel. So here is a framework to use to help you understand it. We say the things that give an organization a strong competitive edge are one, what it knows. So you find out that in every company, you already gather data. You already have systems in place that collate data, financial data, transaction data, sales data, even HR, is usually baked into the system, the integrate in the information system of the company, that data that they find important to them are automatically gathered, at least most of those data. So you find out that companies already satisfy point number one. Now, point number two is how you use what you know, how you use those data that you have gathered. Okay, and so that's where Excel and many of all these tools come in place. So we start creating daily reports, weekly reports. We start creating reports out of those data we have gathered, right? Number three is where Power BI has an edge or solves a problem that Excel and many other tools are not able to solve prior to Power BI or Tableau, because Tableau actually brought about this revolution. So one must still give it to them. So number three is how fast it knows things. So what used to happen is this. Before self-service BI, self-service BI is where Power BI, Tableau, ClickSense, Domo, a whole lot of all these tools, that's where they are. So before then, what will happen is we will go. I used to work for a telecoms company and I was MIS and business analyst. Every day we download the data for the previous day. It's a telecoms company, Airtel actually, a subsidiary of Airtel. We download the data for the previous day. We create the report of what has happened, and then we send. When I send that report till the next day, everybody is blind. They don't know what has happened that one entire day, and it gets worse. It gets worse on a weekend. So there are times that they want to do things that they will, because of that, tell me they will have to beg me to do report on a Sunday or do report on a Saturday, because they don't want that 2 days gap that will happen or 3 days gap that will happen. By the time I send report on Friday, Friday's report is showing what happened to Thursday. And then when you're looking at that report again on Monday for a meeting, you find out that you're already 3 days blind. You're already Sunday blind, Saturday blind, Friday blind. Until I send you Monday's report, which might not come in until afternoon. Whatever meeting that happens, and India, where our HQ is 5.5 hours, or is it 4.5 hours ahead of us. So you find out that even what is early for me sending the report early, is still late at their own time zone. So it has never really been that easy to do that how fast. It has always been as fast as how the person can download and do the report. So there's always that manual human aspect to the fast, right? Then what used to happen then is some companies begin to bundle BI on top of their own data system. So you will see Oracle bundling OBI on top of their Oracle database system. Microsoft too used to do that. So there was MSBI, Microsoft BI, that was bundled on top of a Microsoft server. So you find out that those ones were so baked into the underlying solution data system they are selling that you cannot use it for your data. If you have an Oracle database and you have an SQL database and you have MySQL database, you're in problem. You can't use their BI to cross-talk, to connect to all of them, because their whole idea was to provide it as an add-on, as a value add that you pay extra money. You can't even buy it separately. You have to be on the premium version or the most expensive version of their data DB solution for you to even have that BI. So that's what they now allow you, and when I say you, it's usually the IT guys who wants to do it, allow you to create reports on top of your data such that as the data is being updated, the report is being updated, right? So that used to be the situation. Either the report is being created by ICT in a silo way that is sitting on top of the DB that the BI is baked on. Remember, I said those BI used to be sold as add-ons on the Oracle DB, on the Microsoft SQL DB, and other solutions that have DB. So when Tableau came up in 2010, and Microsoft Power BI 2 came up, 4 years later, 5 years later, the whole concept was number 3, what you're seeing on this screen. They want to enable companies to know things as fast as it is happening into their DB, right? So that's one thing I want everybody to take notice of, that Excel stops at number 2. Power BI naturally gets to number 3. So if you see anybody who is using Power BI and is not doing it to number 3, somebody has to manually go and refresh or manually do something for the report to come up. You will see he's not using Power BI correctly. And it can happen because of 3 things. You are not connecting the data to the original source. I know some people who will still like to go and download the data into Excel, or download it as a CSV, or download it anyway, and then is that downloaded version they are connecting to Power BI. They are using Power BI wrongly. Connect Power BI directly to the source so that you can know things as fast as they're happening, so that your report can be regenerated as quickly, as fast as the DB is being updated. Okay, so I hope I've established that point. I move on. Okay, so now this architecture is really cool, but it's still close to what it is now. Not so much has changed. So this diagram here, I got it 6 years ago. I can't even remember where I got it from, right? I'm not sure I got it from Microsoft documentation. I think I got it from another presenter who I know I got it somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but it's that old, 6 years ago. And 6 years ago is 2015. Okay, 5 years ago. I think it's 2016 I got it. It's not that long ago. So the key thing is, again, as for the architecture of Power BI, let me use a way to, okay, all right, I'm going to break them into 3 so that you will see properly how it's like. So here, you see this side. I thought I did something now. Let me do it again. It's gone off. Control 2. Okay, great. You see that place that I have marked up in a red line? Unfortunately, the red box is not that thick, but you will see that data flow into data sets. So Power BI has a portion of it that is called data sets, right? So you are meant to connect directly to the data wherever it is. So there are 3 categories of data you can connect Power BI to. You can connect Power BI to cloud sources. So if you see up here, number 1 is cloud. So let me just find a way to write it with my So this is number 1, cloud sources. Okay, so you can connect to the cloud DB, connect to the databases wherever they are. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that you can also connect to OneDrive, things you have in SharePoint and OneDrive. Okay, so we can call them cloud sources too, but there's something about them. I can have a file on my computer, and just because I have it saved in the OneDrive folder, right, it automatically becomes a OneDrive file. So that is drastically different from I have the data directly on a cloud DB. So that's why I like to call it as category number 2. So what I normally do is if I have people who say they have reports that are not in DB or they have data that are not in DB, it could be target related, it could be usually target related, you know, budget related, where maybe they don't usually upload that budget on a DB. I tell them to put it on OneDrive. You know, by putting it on OneDrive, we are making it to be like it's on cloud, so they can change things directly there, and it will instantly flow into my report. It will not be a case of someone has to manually trigger an action to happen. Though again, I know what we can do for which we get to category number 3. So category number 3 is on-premise data. So if you can't use option 1, a purely cloud DB, you can't use option 2, which is having it in a kind of a OneDrive, actually OneDrive. Even a Google Sheet that can work, it's not the best because you have to make it in such a way that there's no more protection. Anybody can access the file. So only OneDrive allows you to keep the access control without having to make it publicly available data. So that's why I would just say, just zero your mind on OneDrive. Okay. So number 3 is I can't have it in the cloud. I can't have it on OneDrive. Yeah, so I can still have it wherever it is, an on-premise database as a flat file sitting in my system. So what you just need to do in addition is you have to set up what we call a gateway. So we will have to set up a gateway, which is what you are seeing here. So you will have to set up a gateway if your data is not sitting on any cloud capable platform or cloud platform, let me use that word. Okay, so that is the aspect of the data sets. Okay, then there's the report itself. So that brings us to here. Report itself. So here, and then you will see that it flows to the right. Data set feeds into the report. So reports are now the analysis you want to see, right? So the kind of analysis that you used to maybe do in Excel, then you are taking a better advantage of the visuals and the enhanced features of Power BI. So yes, the reports. And those reports, they can be consumed on phone and on PC. So that's what you are noticing on the right. You can consume them on tablet, on your normal desktop, and on a phone. Okay. So the thing is now there's dashboards. The concept of dashboard is I am able to pick reports. I'm able to pick aspects of reports. Let me reword that. I'm able to pick different aspects across different reports and make it into one dashboard. So think of it this way. You are the MD of a company, right? So finance used to create some reports they send to you. Operations have some reports that you get. HR have some reports that is sent to you. Like that, so you get the whole idea. Every major department, they send you some report. You are the MD, so you need to get visibility into all those aspects of your company. Now, you as MD, you either have to be good in Excel and start finding a way to join them together, or you have somebody who is good in Excel who you will tell, you know what, you will be my executive assistant. Now, this report that these guys are sending, even though I'm going to go through them, I want you to create one report where I will tell you the important things I want to see. I want to see on the finance side, our expenses versus budget. Maybe that expenses versus budget is on one sheet out of like 20 sheets in their report. So yeah, you have indicated that that's one thing you want to see. Then you are also letting your whoever it is you want to task with it to say, to be aware that okay, you're also interested in, like, out of the 20 sheets, you're interested in just 6 sheets, and not everything in those 6 sheets, just some aspect of the report in that 6 sheet. Okay, then you tell him or her to also go to operations and pick some specific aspect of the report and put in that one. Eventually, what you're going to have is a dashboard, something that is showing you all the important things across all those different reports. But guess what? Those reports are coming from different domains in your company, are coming from different departments. So these are reports that never will be in the same file, because finance people will not do a report that we have operations people's data, right? So essentially you will, under a normal course of action, never have one report that will have everything about your company. So you will have to get someone, or you yourself will do what will have all the important aspects across all of them and link them together, so that when you see sales go up, you can be able to check on the marketing side. Was it that there were some special marketing activities that happened that period? You know, you can be able to also check on the operation side. What was the corresponding operating expenses? You know, what was the supply chain activities around that period? Were there some stock out? Were there some? So you see that live connection that makes your data really reflects that this is an entity, not like silos, right? That's what dashboard is meant to do. So dashboard is meant to be able to take reports that different people are sharing to you. So now in the Power BI realm, what will happen is finance have done Power BI reports, operations have done Power BI reports, sales have done Power BI reports, HR has done Power BI reports, and then what will happen is that you will now be picking all the aspects that are important to you, and Power BI call it pin. So it's a very simple task. You are just pinning them to a dashboard that is valuable for you. So you as MD, that's where you go first. So you see all the things that are important to you in one dashboard. And then if there's anything of interest, you are seeing something and you want to see what's happening further than what you have pinned on your dashboard, you click on that particular one and it takes you to the report. So if it's something that is relating to finance, it will take you to the originating finance report where you are there pinned that particular aspect of your dashboard from. So that's the concept of dashboard. So you find out that different reports can lead to one dashboard. Different data sets can lead to one report. Then still again, different reports can feed one dashboard, but never the other way around. You can never, you can't even put dashboard in a report. So let's not even talk about the other way around. So is that a bit clear? And then don't forget that the whole essence of Power BI is how fast you can know things, right? So it doesn't make sense for you to do a Power BI report and somebody still have to publish something, or somebody needs to take a manual action before what has happened to the DB reflects in your report. That's not the normal way. You should find a way to not, even if the data is problematic, that is becoming difficult to do it that way, your goal will be to keep ironing out the issues that are preventing it from being done the way it should be done. Okay, so that's the mindset you should have. All right, so now we go to the easy part, which is Power BI can connect to over 100, I think now over 200 data sources. Remember, I said this is a bit dated. The idea is Microsoft wants you to connect to your data wherever it is domiciled. So wherever your data is, they want you to connect to it. And you know what other thing they are doing? They are even making you able to connect to API-based data sources. I can connect to LinkedIn. I can connect to Exchange. I can connect to the kind of things that we don't think of as data sources. I can connect to my MailChimp, my Twitter account. I can connect to SharePoint. I can connect to a whole lot of things that ordinarily you don't think of them as data sources, right? And the idea is they want you to be able to see in one place all the data that relates to your business. So guys in marketing that are always doing digital marketing, running promos on Facebook, on Twitter, Google Ads, doing Google Analytics, they can ingest their data alongside and have it side by side with the budget data that comes from finance, with the sales data that they already have, so they can be able to see how well their marketing activities is impacting sales. So you get the whole concept. That's why it makes sense for them to also let you connect to those social media. You might be thinking it as maybe vanity. It's not vanity metrics. For a company, those things are big deals that they spend money on, and it would be nice for them to see live and direct the analytics that comes from there, side by side, the impact it's having on sales and how well they are spending within their budget to achieve those sales. Okay, so similarly too for email, ICT can be able to analyze are there too many duplications of file attachments, people sending the same file, as and that thing is using up space within the email domain. They can be able to analyze what is causing congestion. Why are some people like using ×4 the size of emails inbox than another of their colleague on the same role? That's the advantage of being able to connect to the exchange. And more importantly, they can begin to automate things too. So that takes us to Power Automate or Power Platform. But let's even leave it at the stage of analysis, right? Okay, so that's why Power BI is trying to let you connect to all data naturally where they are. So anyone that you want to connect to that you can't find a connection point to, you can even go and add it. You can go and add it as an ideas for Microsoft to add. So because that's their goal. So as long as they get enough people request for it, they will definitely try to add it. All right. So I'm going to move beyond this. Just this is where I used to tell people that when you have staff, or if it's you and you're already good with Excel, you find out that you're already somewhat good with Power BI, because all what you know in Excel, many of them translate directly into Power BI. Use pivot table is the same thing. Pivot table is called matrix table in Power BI. You do charts, bar charts, pie chart. They are all bearing the same name. Column charts. The same names that they have in Excel is what they are bearing in Power BI. What will have ordinarily been bar charts in a different software, that you now be the one saying your bar, you want the orientation to be vertical or horizontal. And we all know Microsoft Excel has always choosing to call the one that is vertical column and the one that is horizontal bar. So you already know Excel, is the same way they are applying those names in Power BI. So this is what I used to tell people, that when you know Excel, somewhat you know Power BI. It's just there are still some other aspects you will need to learn, but you are not starting from ground zero, unlike someone who doesn't know Excel at all. Okay, again, this is just a continuation of what the person will have done here, and he will still have achieved it here, the same way he will have done it in Excel, just that the visuals here look better and nicer. Okay, and you get drilled down, and you get interactivity out of the box. All right, so you need to be aware of. So in Excel, we have what we call fragmentation. I'll give you a very nice example. Remember I told you I used to work for a telecom company, and I was doing the analysis of all our data, all our operations. Maybe I can just tell you what it is. So I used to work with Conviva, which is a subsidiary of the Airtel main group. Bharti Airtel was a subsidiary of Bharti Airtel because they sold to Mahindra now, so they are now Tech Mahindra. I used to work as MIS/business analyst for the CRBT product. CRBT stands for ringback tone, collar ringback tones product. So I analyzed for, then we were in 10 countries. This was 2011. We were in 10 countries in Africa then, or they were in, since I'm no longer with them, they were in 10 countries in Africa then. So I have to create, there were 2 of us. So we have to create reports across all those 10 countries, all that has happened as per that product, sales, subscribers, network, user base, and a whole lot of all what they want to see. What is value, and then how people are coming in from what channel. So it's the full analytics that can come from the data that they are tracking. Okay. So what used to happen is sometimes there is a lot of pressure. So someone is pressuring me, and we're in different time zone. So there's the Kenya guys who I think are 2 hours or 1 hour ahead of us. So before me, I'm settling in, they're already pestering me that it's already noon. Whereas noon there is 10 p.m. here. So they're pestering me, oh, Michael, where's my report? And then our bosses, some of our bosses in India, who are like 4.5, I think it's 4.5 or 5.5 hours ahead of us. Again, too, they are pestering me. So what is to happen is sometimes I make mistake. So I do a report because I'm being under pressure. I send it out, then I realize that there's a mistake in what I've sent out. You know what happens? What you see on the screen is what happens. I quickly go and correct my mistake, and then I resend. But the problem is when I resend, they're going to have 2 versions. They're going to have the one I sent before, and they're going to have the one I've just sent now. Okay? So there used to be fragmentation. You can now be in a meeting and you see somebody still using the one that is old, that you have sent an email on top of and say they should discard and use the recent one. And someone will still be using that one. And another person using the newer version. And so you will now be in the same meeting and people are like using different versions of your report. With Power BI, that is not possible. That no longer happens. In the same scenario, I make a mistake. I realize I made a mistake. I correct the mistake. I don't even need to email you. If I'm emailing you, it's to draw your attention to it. But if I'm the kind of person that I want to play saint, as if I never even made a mistake, I just correct it. And the moment I correct it, it gets corrected at your end. Okay, so there's always one single version of the report. There's never multiple versions. There's never fragmentation. Okay, so that's one thing about Power BI. Some people used to ask me, how is that possible? How will you send a report that it will change what I have on my own side? That's what the Power BI service makes possible, because you don't actually email out the development copy of the report. What you do is you share the report. So every time the shared report gets updated, the copy that the other people at the other end are watching too or are using also gets updated. So that's why we use the word share, not really send. Okay, so this is just to again reinforce the aspect of it's set up to be automatically updated, and then sometimes you can force a refresh. Maybe you don't want to wait for the scheduled updates. You can force a refresh. You can do a refresh now. Okay, so that's what that one is saying. And then I mentioned before that you can somebody's mic. Let me just go whose mic it is. So I also mentioned that it allows you can consume the report. If you look at if you remember that slide on architecture, I showed us that it can be, okay, thank you, the person has even muted himself already, so thanks for that. So I showed you in the architecture side that you can consume on phone, you can consume on PC and all, but you know what what extra effort they've done is that they make it mobile, or you make it native. There's a word we call it, well, mobile friendly is another word, but they make it in such a way that is there's a word we call it native something. I can't remember the technical term again, where when you are consuming a website on PC, you enjoy the capability of the PC, the wide screen, the features the PC have. And when you are consuming it on phone, you are getting a native experience on phone, such that some things will come up as notification. It flows well with the portrait, you know, the small screen size and the nature of the screen. So that's what they have done too, so that you can always enjoy a first-class experience of your report, whether you are viewing it on phone or on the PC. So that's what I have this demonstrating over here. Okay, so you see the same report, but you see how it looks like when I am on a PC and what it looks like when I'm on a phone. Okay, and you, the developer of the report, you are not doing anything. It's already baked into it. Okay. And one other thing I was trying to tell us at the start, that I said when people just focus on the desktop side of Power BI, they are really not using it the way it should be. So there's what we call email alerts, actually is the word. So if there is a KPI that you need to be aware of when it crosses some particular threshold. Take for instance, I'm in supply chain. There are some procurements we have made, you know, so there are vendors we have sent to procure some things there, and I've already connected to the data. And then we know that we are giving them a maximum delivery period of 2 weeks. So I want to be notified whenever it's past 2 weeks already. So whenever it's past 2 weeks, even if it happens on a Sunday, it will email me. So it doesn't have to be a case of what we do in Excel where you put conditional formatting, which is nice, but until you open the Excel file, you're not going to see the conditional format. So that's what makes alert something beyond that. Alert is a kind of push mechanism. You might even be at a party, maybe it's a Saturday, you're at a party, you guys are at an Owambe, and you will get the notification, oh, this thing had happened, because it's a push mechanism. It pushes the notification to you that this KPI that you are monitoring against a specific threshold, that threshold has been crossed. It can be crossed, like maybe crossed from low to high. It could be said that when it reaches a figure, that's going from low to crossing it to the high side. And it can be something that is normally high, and it's only when it comes down, and it falls below a threshold. So take, for instance, I work in ICT, maybe I work in Vodacom, or I work in MTN, where we provide data for companies, and there's this thing we call uptime, and then we are measuring our availability. So at the start, availability is 100%. We are always available. We've not had any downtime. So the more downtime we have, the lesser the figure we keep coming down, right? So if I've set a threshold that whenever our availability, maybe the SLA is such that we must not go below 99% uptime. So I could have set the KPI that, maybe for me, I don't even want to wait until 99% is crossed. Maybe once it reaches 99.3%, I want to know, so that we can begin to dedicate resources to that particular channel or client, so that we don't fall below that SLA, and then some penalty kicks in, which will be, you get less revenue, which is a very bad thing. And if you're a salesperson, it's into your pay, your salary, or bonus. Okay, so that's what these ones mean. So you get it as email, and on your phone, you even get it as an alert, that will pop up. I think like your WhatsApp notification pops up too. All right, so that's some of the things. And for people who like, let me see if there's somebody who I love what he did. He works with Global Accelerate. So there was a training we had. You know what he did? In his own department, I think he's in finance. So in his own department, they are big on PowerPoints. So they always kind of do a PowerPoint version of every major report. You know what he did? He decided to just set up his Power BI in a PowerPoint approach. Meaning that he did page 1, and he uploaded what will have been the cover of a PowerPoint slide. A PowerPoint slide where we have this report is about the date, and then he present or department that the report is from. So he did that. So it's static kind of, but the idea is so that when he exports the entire report, he's already gotten his PowerPoint presentation out already. Okay, so it has this export to PowerPoint, which is a very cool thing. And I think there's export to PDF, but I don't know yet if it's on the web. But I know people have been requesting that they also want to be able to export the presentation from the web directly to PDF. Okay, so I've mentioned drill down capabilities. It has control access. Control access means that I can Okay. I hope you can hear me. Sorry, apologies. I used to network, so the one I'm speaking into went off. So I had to switch back to, I just pray this one doesn't go because this is the backup. All right. Oh, Mr. D was saying something that's working hard. About which one is that? Which aspect is the working hard one? So, so one company I had to do something for, and at the start of the project, what they were saying was that, you know what, we have different managers that they are not supposed to see the same thing. So one manager is supposed to see only what applies to his. So they were like, in Excel, what we used to do is we used to create them differently. So the one that will go to manager A is going to be a different Excel file than the one that will go to manager B, so that manager A is not going to see what he's not supposed to see. Manager B is only going to see the report that relates to him. So when they were saying it, they were thinking, Michael, does that now mean that since we have like 10 managers, we're going to have to create in Power BI like 10 versions of the report? I said, I was smiling because I know that it's something that when I mention the answer or how we're going to do it, they are going to be really, very, very, very happy. So I told them that Power BI already has that in place. all you have to just give me the manager's emails, and then I'm going to set it up such that it's called control access, role level security, but the actual word is it's a control of access. You are controlling the access that different people will have to different aspects of your report. So I'm building one report, a report that is built on top of the entire data. And then the manager that is national manager that should see everything, the finance director and the MD, they're going to see everything. But the person who is supposed to see maybe only the Southwest, what do? I've configured him to only see the data that is for Southwest. So by the time he's viewing the report, he's only going to see what it's for. Then if you deploy the Southwest manager to maybe Southeast, no trouble. All I have to do is just remove his email from the Southwest security group or row level group and go and put him in the Southeast one, and that is all. C'est fini. From that day onwards, it's going to, even the reports he used to see when he was Southwest manager, when he goes to check them, he's not going to be seeing Southwest anymore. He's going to be seeing the new region he's been deployed to. Okay, so those are some of the things. And then there's also this data governance, where in Excel, people can email organizations data. It's even a common thing. If I know I'm leaving a company next month, I start emailing my Yahoo or my Gmail. I start sending some specific files ahead. I start gradually sending it to myself. And the reason is that maybe there are things I developed for the company that they are useful, and I would like to be able to reference it and take some insights from it. So your motive can be pure. It's not really like your motive is bad. But you know what? From the data governance side of the company, they are not going to see it that way. So as the ICT, as the information chief of the company, that is something I will not like. Even if I know there's nothing malicious about your intent, it's even maybe your file, it's your data or whatever it is. If I can prevent it up front, I'm definitely going to want to prevent it up front, right? And that's what Power BI makes possible, right? So it allows you to do data governance such a way that you can say people can't share data out of your organization. So they can't share that report. If they go and try to share it to their Gmail, it won't even go. So they go to the share, they put their Gmail account, it won't go. They put their Yahoo email, it won't go. And that's just it. There's nothing they can do, right? So that's one other thing it makes possible. And for people who keep trying to say, I like to see a daily report, I want to get to office in the morning and I see an email in my inbox that says this is today's report. So it has what we call subscribe. You just subscribe them to the email. So if you go to the web platform, you're going to see it on the Power BI service. It's called subscribe. Maybe I will show us once I'm done. I'm almost done anyway. So, and then they'll be getting, the only problem is not going to be interactive. It's going to be like an image snapshot. But then it comes with a link that says, okay, to now access the interactive report, they click on the link. So perfect. They get the mail they want. If they want if what is attached is enough, then great. If what is attached is not enough, they want to query it for that, they click on the link. Almost the same way too, if you email it to them, they have to open the attachment, right? So it's not really like it's an inferior experience they are getting. Okay. And then it's got more AI capabilities than even what I'm showing here. So there are AI capabilities they've been expanding on. So there is more like even this data decomposition, visual. There are many more that when I did this, they were not existing. There's quick insights. There's always been Q&A. So there are many things that you can leverage that, is completely in this Power BI kind of tool, not in the other Excel. Though they're trying to put it in Excel, but you will know it's just to put it there so that they will say it has it. Not really like it's something that you are going to really, really use that way, the way it is in Excel. Okay. So this is a summary. So when I'm explaining Power BI to people, I try to let them understand that, well, the whole goal of using any BI tool is to understand what has happened, which is you are reporting what has happened, reactive reports, showing history, and then you want to know what is happening right now. That's why it's called business intelligence. If you hear when you hear of CIA, what comes to your mind is an agency that knows things that even the regular ordinary citizens will not know, and maybe even know things that president will not know, and they're the ones who will provide president with the information, right? I don't know about our own NIA. So, but the whole essence is that when you hear the word intelligence, there's always that timing concept to it. You know something really fast. So present, which brings us to present. Oh, you're asking for the presentation. I've shared it. Let me just reshare the slides again. So I'm reposting the slide. Okay, so present is what you want to notice as they are happening, right? And then there's future, which is where Power BI has not been awesome yet, but they are working on it. They are improving. Even recently, they've added anomaly detection. They've added some new things too, but you will know it's still lacking a bit in the predictive side, except if you want to use formulas to generate your prediction and do some kind of a what if analysis, parameters. But I'm sure they keep adding new features, so they will keep improving that aspect. But then again, a BI tool should also be able to let you see into the future based on what has been happening in your data, right? So this is the whole essence of any BI tool, and Power BI is one of such tools, and that's the one I know. That's why I can confidently tell you its capabilities and what is lacking. So that's the end of my presentation. And these are just sample reports that I picked from the gallery. So there is a gallery where you can go and see what people have done. And this is an advertisement if you are interested in our training, how you can reach us. We are the sponsors of this. So instead of us begging you to donate $10, 10 this and that, and sending you our Bitcoin address, we don't want them to ban your your bank account. Anyway, I'm just saying that if you need training, we provide trainings anyway. So now let me go, since I have like 7 more minutes, let me just see if I can show you some of those ones that I said, like the subscribe, let me go here. So this is the dashboard that I have around the stock exchange. And this year, I'm going to improve my visuals. So I've been intimidated too much by all these guys that are doing really cool visuals around the financial statements. If you see my own now, I did it the way I consume it. So what I did was I did a very tabular approach. So I'm going to start changing it later. But the key thing I even want to bring out is this is functional. I still spoke with someone from South Africa, or I still had an email exchange with someone from South Africa who wants to collaborate with us on this. So it's not like that. It's something that people are using. So now there are some people that I added them to the subscribe. If you look at my screen, there's this subscribe. If I click on it, so what happens is they don't want to have to remember to go to our websites and go and check this thing out. They want to get it as an email every day. So that's what I've done. So what I've done is I go and I pick the sheet. So importantly, this sheet 1, that's what many of them like to see, because this one has a summary of all the key macroeconomic indices. So they want to be able to get it in their email. So what did I do? I just had their email address here. And then I tell it to send to them on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And the reason why I set it to send on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday's data is going to be reflected in 2 days dashboard. So most of the macroeconomic data and you want to see what happened at the end of yesterday's stock market this morning, right? Except if you want to see it in the evening. But since I'm sending it to them in the morning, so I had to just say, it doesn't make sense for me to send to you Monday morning where nothing happened on Sunday. Okay, so and you see that I can specify the time it goes to them, right? I set it to 4:15. So this one they will know that it's automated. But if you want it to make it look like you are the one sending it, you just put it at 8:04. They will be like, Michael is super efficient. Every day he's sending me an email at 8:04. He never misses it, But anyway, that's just to show you this is what I mean by the subscribe. Then the sharing I was talking about. So anybody that needs to get the report, if I go to share and I click on reports, right, it's going to come up from the right side of my screen. And then I can plug in your email address. And the cool thing, I can limit your rights. I can say I don't want you to be able to reshare the report. I can say I don't want you to be able to use my own report to build another report, you know. And I can also go and look at the people I've shared it with and decide that some people I want to remove. You've looked at me one way I don't like. I just go in and yank you off. So from that day on, you will just see that you can't see the report anymore, right? So, I have full control. That's what it means. Even though I've shared it with you, unlike Excel, if I've sent it to you, I've sent it to you. I can only try to do recall email, but it won't work if you have already seen it. I can only come and beg you or come and delete it physically from your PC. But this one, I don't need to do that. So I can, from here, just remove you from being able to access it. So that's some of the things it has that makes it stand out. So that's why I like to explain it this way, because once you see the capability, it easily explains to you that it is different. This is what Power BI is. Power BI is what it does. So that's my answer to it. When I say back to basics, Power BI is actually what it does, and this is what it does. These are the things you do with Power BI, and that defines what Power BI is. Okay, so any questions? I'm done with my presentation, and I've shared the slides with us ahead. So any questions? I'm grateful. This is the first time I am doing a session that is I'm the one. It's not a foreign guest. It's not an external guest. It's not somebody else. And I get this number of audience. Oh God, this is awesome. So any question before I end the session? Okay, seems no questions. But I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope I didn't bore us. I hope I didn't. I know many of what I've said are things you already know. Oh, okay, I can see someone's hand up. Yeah, Mr. Ladi, please.
Yeah, good evening, Oga. How's
Yes,
it going?
we thank
Thank you
God.
for all your efforts so far. I was there at during the first session.
Oh, the project
Uh,
finance one. Awesome.
yes, I was also there when we have Alan on board. Although
Oh, great.
today marks 2 years that I lost my dad, so we're at the prayer session. So, but even at
Sorry
that, I
about
still
that.
find time.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
No.
much
Wow,
to
wow.
thank. So I just got
Yes, sir.
home now, and I've missed a lot about this session. But I'm sure I'm going to go to the recording and check it
Okay,
out myself.
okay.
But
Slide too. You can use a slide.
okay, so if I want in-depth training on Power BI, how much is it going to cost me? Or is it something we can take out of this session that we'll discuss later?
Yeah, I think I should. So maybe what I would just say, anybody that their interest is in the training, I will just put my email in the phone number there. You can just reach me outside of the session, so I don't now make the whole thing looks like I'm advertising. So I'll
Okay,
just drop my email and my phone number. We can take that one outside of this session.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, sir. Okay, so I see some other people's hand up. Let me just go look at it in the order that their hands came up. So just trying to go back to where it will show me everybody. So Mr. Olabode, I can see your hand up. Yes.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for this class. I always enjoy your class. Sometimes I join almost every time though.
Okay, thanks for
Even
joining.
though I may not be able to stay end to end, but I join and I enjoy it. You really helped. I can remember preparing for my certification last year. I did your course on Udemy, and I was able to pass my Power BI certification. But
Thanks.
my constant challenge is this that because where I work, we don't really have much data. They don't even give you the pro license, to be able to share, to be able to do all of this stuff you talked about. So I don't know if you have if there is like it's not like a training, I like a mentorship whereby I can get my hands dirty. The truth is, like I've done a lot with Power BI in my organization today. I introduced it to them about 2 years ago, and I've done a lot. But they don't really. They are just satisfied at the visualization. They don't know the capacity and capability. So it also limits me because you can't take organization data out to do
Oh,
things with it. So I just need some like a platform where I can do data. Probably like okay, probably Oga might say, oh, Olabode, can you do this for me? And I get it done. I submit it. I don't know if you get the whole thing.
Yes, yes. So your question, I'm even happy it's coming because it's helping me to remember something I was doing that I got derailed from, that I now, based on your question, I have to pick up again. So, well, two things. One is that on our own hand, so people who do our class training, we send them weekly tasks, but it's not always Power BI. So it's always a mix. So this week they might get Excel, next week they get Power BI, and it's to solve what you said because people complain about it a lot. You're not the first person raising this kind of issue where you want more data outside of what you are interacting with in your day to day. So, but for a general, what we now thought of is let's even do something more robust that maybe even it's not everybody we can give access to, but it won't just be that one because even that one, like I told you, is not always Power BI. This week you might get Excel, next week you might get financial modeling, the week after you get Power BI, and sometimes it's just we send you Excel file, we send you the task.
Sorry, Oga. Sorry to cut you short. You do training on financial modeling, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, for me, I do have a finance background. I don't know anything in finance. In fact, last year I had to go and take one or two courses on what is it called on one of these sites on finance, building financial statement and basics of accounting. Is it possible for someone like me also to be able to move in their finance line to be able to build a financial statement with Power BI and do all of those analyses?
Okay. Why you see that I paused is yes, you can build financial statements with Power BI, but if it's the modeling side, when you are going to be doing forecasting and the cash flow is going to go and balance the balance sheet, I'm yet to see somebody who has pulled it off. I would like to see somebody who has pulled it off. So the modeling side, I've still not. There was a company I was doing for that they even flew me to South Africa, their HQ. In the end, it is just the financial statements that we could automate in Power BI. And the sad thing is, they paid me for even taking me to South Africa, the work that I was supposed to do. I did it, but they told me that they were not going to use it anymore because they found out that it was as if they were forcing Power BI to be what it is not. In terms of the way it's going to even display the statement, it's not going to, you have to do too many tweaks to display the way if you are doing normally in Excel. So another vendor had sold them something else that was purely just for financial modeling. So they just went for that one. So that was why, but I know it does financial statement. At least I see people who, and like I told you, we did it. It's not like we didn't do it. It's just that we have to force it to do it, kind of. Okay, so it was not now doing it the very way they wanted. Let me just use that word. Then the number two is for modeling. I don't want to say an outright no, but I know people better than me who have tried it and they kept saying that it's just not the best tool to try to use to do financial modeling. Then for the question you asked, the original one, which I was trying to answer, is so I now decided to create, I don't know if you have heard of AdventureWorks. So I decided to create, let me see if I can show you. So I decided to create a Nigerian version, or not fully Nigerian version, but a custom, localized version. Yeah, one can still say Nigerian version of AdventureWorks. And then I was going to put it on a publicly available server so that we can now make it available to people, not necessarily people just like you now who are interested, because that data, there's nothing I can cook up that's going to be as great as this. I try cooking up for my Excel stuff. I always cook up things. But when I saw the schema, if I show you the schema of that AdventureWorks, nothing I can do can come close to it. So it mirrors completely a company beyond what I can even imagine and do well. So I just felt instead of doing from scratch, why not modify it? Let the product be maybe let it be more of things that now look like Nigerianish. Maybe change the states, countries, make it look more Nigerian kind of. Then we can now also put it on a public kind of server. So you are now working with an organization, just like it's a fictitious company, but it's a company and shows all aspects from HR to procurement to sales to finance to, you know, every aspect of that a company will typically have. And then you're able to see how you will use this in a real, you know, if you are a consultant to a company, you're building it to cover all of the analytics, how you will naturally use it, rather than just using it in your department or in one department. So I'm going to take it up again now that, you know, your question has reminded me of it. I can try and finish it. It's going to take a while, but I've done the ledger chunk. I've done most of the, should I say, remixing. So the other parts are not as tedious as what I've already had done. So thank you. Mr. D, you are next, sir. I see your hand up.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for this session. Right, thank you. Really appreciate it. Now, my question is around licensing, right? Let me use your company as an example. You are into consulting and all of that. Now, you have while you are doing your normal daily consulting, you've come across some companies who really want to buy the license, but they really want to buy it for them, to manage everything for them, right? And my question is this: is it possible, or let me say, how possible is it for you to buy the license on their behalf, but rather than buying it in their name, you buy it to own as BizEdge? Your BizEdge, right? You have your domain and all of that. So when you now buy this license, then you you now begin to sell it out to them like a SaaS approach, software as a service, right?
Hello? Hello? Sorry, can you hear me now? Apologies, my network. I know I say I'm using two networks concurrent. Sorry. So I head up to the license that, okay, can I buy the license on their behalf?
Hello?
Sorry, I can hear you
Yes.
now.
Okay, sorry,
So
I lost connection.
It was even me. I was the one, it was my own network.
Okay,
So,
as I was saying,
I heard you
so
up
as I
to
was
where you
saying,
said that can I buy the license for them?
okay, now rather buying the license for them in this, okay, let me explain that bit. Now, you are the one buying the license. You own the license, right? On behalf of, you have the license as your BizEdge, right? But you are now allocating the pro license to them, right, on demand basis. For example, you are consulting for ABC company and they are saying, okay, we want you to manage all our reports for us, blah blah blah, and all of that, right? Now you buy the license, you already have maybe 300 user license, and you just allocate to them, to some of their users, right? Now the problem around that is they have their own domain, and definitely they have their own email, internal emails, right? Now, in terms of when you get to the point where you need to share reports, right? You can't really share reports. You have to share it outside your own domain, which means you're going to share to their own email, if you get what I mean, right? So it's going to be there's going to be a kind of conflict around that, right? But the question is there a way by which you can, do what I asked, as in you have like a 300 user license, and for every company that comes to you, right, you can then begin to allocate, 5 users to ABC company, 20 users to DEF company, and on and on like that. Is it really possible? Is it something achievable, considering everything around Power BI service? That was my question.
Okay. So there's one of my ogas in the house too that I would like to hear, because what may I know is in part in that space. I can see there's Ahmed Oyilo in the house, and I'm sure you will have faced it. So this is my own knowledge to it, because whenever this thing you said come about, I always force them kind of, because that's the way I kind of do. I make it just tell them that I don't buy licenses for that I force them to buy. I can even help them, take them through the process. Like I can sit with the ICT guy. But then I know one way that it can happen, which is, that was what I was trying to go to here. So this is my own organization's office. You know, the Power BI Pro. If you get an E5, there's some plans that you can be on that allows you to have the license, and then in addition to, you can buy licenses of, it's like, see if I didn't log in with the admin, no wonder. I'm going to log out and log in with my admin to you will see when I go to the admin, so it allows me to put somebody else, another organization has, I've forgotten the technical word, that's what I wanted, why I wanted to log in, so you will see together. So I can put another organization as in that place that lets that organization be able to buy license for me.
Like domain mapping.
Let me just log in and see. Okay. I've forgotten the word, but that's how typically all these companies that are consulting in the space of Office, that they will sell Office 365 to companies and all, and do sell those plans to companies, and it's their own card that is being charged. So there's a place in Microsoft's admin side where you can configure another organization as your license, there's a, what they call it, as the person who can buy license for you. And those organizations too, they will already be Microsoft partners. Okay, so there's once you put, there's I think it's the email, there's a number, there's something you will put about them that will make Microsoft now identify that this is the person buying for you, and it will show up, it will pop up if I'm that organization, so I'm the consulting company, you put my details as the person who is if you have authorized to buy you license, right? It will pop up. I will see you as companies that I can manage, I can buy license for. On Azure too, it's possible. If I don't see it here, I can show you how the Azure one looks like. But I know for Office, it's a different way than the way it shows on Azure. But if it doesn't show up here, if I'm having trouble with it here, I can go to the Azure one and show you how Azure has implemented it. So that's what I noticed. So when I'm trying to demonstrate or try and look for what I was looking for, I don't know if Mr. Ahmed can also say something about it. I'm sure he would have come across, or maybe he's even done it for some companies. So I'm in my Office 365 admin segment right now. If I go to, let me just keep going through all of, let me zoom so that at least we can see all what I'm going through together. Okay, so billing accounts, is there anywhere that it says I can add? Purchase services. So it's around here that I know I see it. I've come across it a few times. It's just that because I don't usually come here that often, so that's why it's looking like I'm hunting for it. But this is where you manage licenses, and this is where you can be able to put somebody else as the person who is going to, I think, billing profile. Somewhere around here, I guess. But not to take too much time, I know that you can buy license for another company if you are a Microsoft authorized reseller, and the company will now be the one that will add you from their own admin side. So they will now pop up at your end. So you can now be able to buy license and allocate to them. So you will be billing them, Microsoft will be billing you. So the other part of your question that I don't think is possible from what I know, that's why I want other people who are aware to also explain, is that I can't buy the license and keep. So I don't think so. From all the interaction, all the things I've seen, I can't buy the license and keep and then be allocating as I want to different companies. All I can do is any company that I'm engaging in that relationship with, they will need to do that thing at their own end that will put me as someone who can buy license for them. And then it will show up in my own admin side and I can buy license and give to them on their behalf. Microsoft bills me. When it's renewal, I'm the one who will be billed also. But I have to find a way of getting my money from them.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm not seeing it on this one. I can just go to the Azure. Maybe if I show you how it's done on the Azure, because it's the same pattern, it's the same, it's just the way the portal looks are different. It's the same strategy of what they've been doing for Office. They carried along also into Azure. So but I usually see it very well in Azure. I visit Azure more than that admin side because I have some things on Azure where every month they keep telling me I owe them money. So I used to log in to go and pay the money I owe them. Any other questions? Let me check the chat box while I'm trying to do that bit. Okay, so Mr. Sheon is asking, can we achieve this with developers account? What do you mean by developers account, sir? I'm a bit at a loss regarding that. When you say developers account, what, Mr. Sheon Ofini, are you there? Are you able to unmute or? So your question is, okay, Mr. Michael, your hand is up. So, okay, Mr. Michael, can you ask yours then? Since I am.
There was a question I was asked that I think probably you jumped. I think my question is actually related to it. So I'll just probably read it so that you can be aware of it. I think Effie Fanny asked it. It reads, "Hi Mike, if you are connecting other open source data, don't you need permissions from the data owners to connect to Power BI? If not, how does it work without needing permissions?" And I said, thanks. It says, note, I'm a newbie. Okay, so riding on that, my own question was going to be like, how easy is it if I'm going to actually connect data, like from my Twitter account, my Instagram account, my probably even Clubhouse or so, plug it into Power BI? Just something I want to play around with.
Okay.
Just want to know how easy it is. Does it require deep programming knowledge or scripting knowledge?
No.
Something I can just easily play around with, and then I can build a dashboard for it.
From it, awesome. I want to do it now. That one doesn't even take time. So it's just a login. I don't know why my computer is not responding. I'm clicking, it's clicking backwards. Okay, I can go from here, Power BI. Okay, wait. So I will show you once I launch the Power BI. It's just logging in. Once you pick that you want to connect to be it Twitter, be it, they call them they're like web sources kind of. It will only ask you to log in. So once you log in, then it will show you all of the things that that provider has exposed to you, all the data about you that Twitter has exposed for you to be able to pick. It will show you. So that's okay. Since that's come up, I can quickly demo one of it. So I'm going to say get data. I've clicked on the get data. It's going to come up soon. So while that one is working, let me go here. Where is the one that used to ask me money all the time? I think it's this one that asks me for money. Let me just go here. So let's see if that one has come up. We'll be multitasking. Okay, so if I go to online services, let me zoom my screen. So you can see that I have LinkedIn, right? I have Google Analytics. You can, which one is my password? Is it to enter on now? Let's use Google Analytics at least. That one we have a lot of data. So I'm going to use Google Analytics. The same thing too if you use Twitter and all. There are some, you are not seeing Twitter here, but if you go to the web one, you will see Twitter. So if I click on it, so it will tell me that I want to connect to a third party. This is just like a disclaimer, like accept. You need to accept whatever terms that those ones I have already given Power BI to always follow. So I will say yes, go ahead. And then this is the thing that is common for all of them. It will tell me to log in. So if it's Twitter, it will direct me to Twitter login. This is Google. If I click on sign in, see what will happen. This is Microsoft product too, right? But once I clicked on Google, can you see what is happening? It's a Google login page that came up, right? That's what will happen if you pick Twitter, if you pick LinkedIn, if you pick any other data provider. It's going to trigger the login for that provider. And then, so let's say this is even the account that has my Google Analytics. I don't know the password. That's the issue now. Let me go and copy the password off here. Let's go here. Password. So I'm going to say Google. This is my password manager. There was a time I had an issue that was like my account was hacked. So I had to start using passwords that I don't know. The day these people blocked me out, I won't be able to get into any of my services. Hope that's the correct one. So it will now ask for my consent. Are you seeing? So it will ask for my consent. The same way, I don't know if you have tried to use third-party tools to publish to Twitter, maybe to handle your tweet or your Facebook post. It's the same approach now. They will try to link to your account. I'll say allow, yes. So it will now expose my Google Analytics data to Power BI. And so if I say connect, you will start having the same experience of a navigator that will pop up. It will show all the data sets that Google Analytics has pushed or that has exposed to Power BI. And so it's always like this. And the same thing too. So this is showing me all the websites that I have on Google Analytics. What has happened now? I'm going to do zooming now. The zoom has over zoomed. So it's showing all the websites that I have, and I can pick any one of them and say, okay, I want to analyze my site performance for this one. So I hope with this you have gotten the whole concept. Let me look for something that looks like traffic. Okay, user, new session. Instantly, I'm going to see how many people are visiting my site and all of these and blah blah. So, so you know the. Anyway, I'm going to go here and try and finish. If I go to my, I think it's here, partner information. Can you see? So Mr. D, this is that place. So if see, let me zoom my screen so that I'll read it together. Partners help to deploy, optimize your usage, or manage your online services. If you have a partner that you work with, enter their Microsoft Partner ID to associate the partner with your subscription. So when you associate it, you can now even transfer the payment of your subscription and the management of some of your subscription to the partner, but you can override. It's not like an exclusive thing. You yourself can still, okay, I don't know, let me not say about what I don't know, but I know you can transfer. I don't know, maybe if you transfer, maybe you'll be able to buy yourself. So you put the partner ID. So if I go and create our own partner ID and put here, but it won't work since we are the ones here. So, but that's something like this. So that way, that partner will now see it at their own hand that they can manage your account for you, and you too can change partner. If tomorrow you change your partner, you will just replace it. Changing the partner does not mean you lose your license. What it just means that when your renewal is due, is this other new partner that will probably have to make the payment on your behalf. But not that just because you've changed partner now, whatever was bought for you, the partner is going to hold you to your neck and say, you know what, I'm going with all what I've bought for you. So that's it. I know I find it easier here than on the Office platform, but it's the same approach too. Okay, so
okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. I think at this juncture, I'll just have to end the session. It's been a very interesting one. My head is swelling. I'm proud of myself today. I got this number of participants. I'm becoming popular little by little. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you all stay to the end, and I hope you enjoyed or learned
You
a
want them
bit.
to you want them to hack your account again.
Let me take it away then. So thank you very, very much. And okay, Mr. Shion, your hand is up now. Yes, you can speak. You might need to unmute yourself. I don't think he, maybe I've typed what he wants to say then. So Mr. Michael is asking, is there going to be a follow-up to this? I don't know. You know, the funny thing is when I don't get an external presenter, that's when I now start thinking of what I can teach on. And most times I don't know that I won't get an external presenter until it's almost 2 days or 3 days. Then I'm sure that I can't get somebody. Let me go and look for a topic. Maybe I will try, but I don't just know. What will be the follow-up then? I don't know. I'll think about it. It's possible. I'll think about it. So, Mr. Shion, last chance. Do you want to speak so that we can get your question and round it? Going on. If I'm not sure, maybe you even know your hand is up. Okay, maybe he doesn't know. So, thank you, everybody, and have a nice week ahead. Bye.